All right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, former East Carolina QB, host of the Holton Ahlers Show, one of my co-hosts on the U.S. Sailor Fifth Quarter Call-In Show. He is Holton Ahlers joining us. What's up, Holt?
Clip, what's up, brother?
Well, we're going to miss you this weekend. First of all, what are you doing on Saturday? Why aren't you going to be on the fifth quarter?
I got a fall wedding, man. Yeah,
Hmm.
I got a fall wedding. Yeah, I'm gonna miss the fifth quarter. Caden called me last night at like 11:30. He's like, "You sure you can't make it, man?" I was like, "Yeah, Caden can't make it tonight, man, on Saturday." So,
All right, well, Caden will be holding down the fort, and we're bringing in two baseballers to fill in for one Holton Ahlers. Jacob Jenkins Coward will be on the show, fifth quarter caller, and our guy DB, Danny Beal, former ECU pitcher. So we'll have some student athletes on board along with myself to answer questions about the game. And I think this will be a hot show regardless, Holton, because if the Pirates lose, you're going to get more Fire Mike Houston calls. If the Pirates win, you will have people fired up that ECU defeated a top 25 team for the first time, I think, in 10 years since they knocked off Virginia Tech. So I think either way, we're going to have a pretty big one Saturday.
yeah, it will be. Danny, I know you're back there producing. Have fun, brother. It'll be a good one for you.
Holt, how you feeling about ECU and Army?
I think this matchup, I think we match up better than anyone who Army's played this year. Now, do I think we'll go in there and win? I mean, that's a different story. I think we'll put up a good fight. I defensively didn't play really well versus Charlotte, clearly. I think that's into our advantage with Army this week because, look, the defense and the team has just heard how bad they sucked the last week during the bye week. I know Coach Houston, I know he's really good at, the mental game of the players. I know he's been in their heads about going out there and playing really well. So I think we match up good with them. I know they haven't played a top, like, 100 run defense in the nation. ECU obviously isn't great at run defense right now, but is in the top 100. So I think we'll match up better than most people are expected. I'm just excited to kind of see, and then I think from everything I'm hearing, Hauser's going to be the guy on Saturday. So looking forward to seeing him kind of have a full game.
One thing on Charlotte and going into this week, I did ask Elijah Morris, and I'll say this: if there's like a guy that I think would not quit that I want in my fight with me, it's Elijah Morris. So I asked him, some Charlotte players said ECU quit. How would you respond to those allegations? And he said, not to touch on that, but what's on film doesn't lie. It almost sounded like he saw some things from ECU that he didn't like on film. I thought that was a pretty good way to answer it without coming out and say some of our guys didn't give max effort. But I thought that was a pretty interesting answer, and I think the coaches and the leaders like Elijah and Deontay probably held some guys accountable these last couple weeks.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. And look, I played with some of those guys, especially that D line. I played with all of them. They were literally all like key players to the Birmingham Bowl team. So I know at least they'll be coming ready to play, and that's the spot that needs to be ready to play versus a
Yeah.
triple option spread-ish team. They still like to run the ball a lot, so that's why I feel a lot better than I typically would. Going into this matchup because I know that we played really bad last week. I know those guys personally and know that they're gonna be ready to put something else on film.
Holden, how about Hauser? It does appear that he will be getting the start on Saturday. I know you saw some things you liked from him this offseason. It always seems like you get a jolt when there's a change at quarterback or a change at a big spot. So hopefully that happens for East Carolina. But what can he do maybe with this offense that we haven't seen yet? How can this offense improve with Hauser at the helm?
Yeah, look, Hauser played pretty well when he was at Michigan State. I mean, he obviously made a few mistakes. He was young and they weren't very good, but the jolt that you're talking about is really what the team needs right now. And I think that is probably going to the decision a lot more than anything other than, obviously the interceptions. But he's a little bit less of a gunslinger, which is probably what we need right now. He's going to go through his reads. He's going to get the ball to the right guy, at least from what we saw in the offseason. And from what I've heard. So we'll see. I don't think he takes as many. All off season at least they were saying that that Garcia took more shots than Hauser, but maybe that was a bad thing. Maybe that was the downfall of Garcia. So maybe we need someone to go in there and just kind of game manage, get the right guys the ball, hit the check downs when we need it. So we'll see how it goes. I think we'll be a lot better offensively, and mesh well with the defense with Hauser at QB.
One thing I brought up on the Holton Ahlers show, that's right, I'm on the Holton Ahlers
Yes,
show this week.
sir.
I asked you guys, how many points will East Carolina score? Both of you, the number 24 came to mind immediately. And I said, whoa, that's a lot of points because Army, the high they've allowed this year is 14. They've done that twice. They've allowed 7 3 times and 10 one time, which is pretty remarkable. Now, of course, they hold on to the ball a lot, but to only give up 14, 10, or 7 says their defense is playing well, and that concerns me going into this game almost as much as what Army can do offensively.
Yeah, it does. And look, I think JDB has enough creativity where he knows that going in that we're going to have to take some double move shots. We're going to have to score touchdowns. We can't just march down the field and then not score. You got to capitalize on this stuff. And let's also not remember that Army's played some booty cheeks offenses so far too. So I'm not saying ours is great, but we at least have some skill out there that can make some moves.
Is that a football term, booty cheeks?
Yeah, that's a whole Nailers term right there.
Gotcha. Holton Ahlers joining us. Holton, a couple of headliners in college football this week. Bama and Tennessee. I don't know if they were looking ahead, but they kind of skate by last week against inferior opponents. That Bama South Carolina game was crazy. And then you've got Georgia Texas coming up as well. With the 12-team playoff, these regular season games don't mean as much. But if you are 2-loss Georgia after this week, or Bama or Tennessee, one of them is going to have 2 losses. You definitely are on the line, on the borderline. So, monster games coming up. Any thoughts on those two big matchups?
I'm kind of opposite. I think a 2-loss SEC team actually might have an advantage. I think not playing in the SEC championship and still getting in the playoff and having 2 extra weeks off is going to help you in this long playoff format. But
can I stop you right there real quick? Let me stop. How angry? So let's say it's Georgia makes the championship, Bama doesn't, Georgia loses. That gives them their 3rd loss. 2-loss Bama, who didn't play in the championship, probably gets in. Do they put 3-loss Georgia in, even though that third loss came in a bonus game? If they're left out, I'm just imagining all the message boards and the fans that are going to be going crazy at the end of this thing. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, well, I love it. And that's what I'm saying, though, is just like stay away from the SEC. Unless you're literally going to go win the SEC championship, just stay away. I know that's easier said than done.
Right.
But, if you're an Ole Miss or Tennessee, don't even touch the SEC championship. Just lose 2 games and make the playoff and go make a run at it.
That's crazy to say, but, yeah, you might be right.
It's seriously, though, if you're one of those, 6 to 10 to 12 teams, if you're not one of the top dogs, just stay out of it. Let the other guys go beat themselves up and just go ahead and get an automatic bid or pretty much an automatic bid. And then obviously the Big Ten's got really good, teams right now. Penn State, I think, is extremely overrated. Every single year they're going to win 9 games. They'll probably make the playoff, but they're gonna drop a game or 2 throughout this.
Yesterday, Mac McCarthy said Penn State is not the number 3 team in the country. So we started looking at it. And we were like, okay, is it, Bama, Georgia, LSU? Who is it? It's almost like after Texas and Oregon right now, who are the undefeateds, there is a pretty big drop-off. There's another level. But on that note, are Texas and Oregon, are they the teams, or are they going to suffer a loss or 2 by the end of this thing? Texas could lose this weekend to Georgia.
Yeah, that's the thing is Texas they're in the SEC, and the SEC is really, really good. The SEC might have 5 or 6 teams that legit could make the playoff. Do I think that'll happen? I think 4 probably will. And then, Big Ten-wise, I think Ohio State's the 3rd best team in the country, even though they just lost to Oregon. That game was so close, I don't think you really changed those much. Penn State barely beating USC is worse than Ohio State losing by 1 to Oregon, in my opinion. So I don't understand that jump at all. But we'll see. That stuff will work itself out.
Had some head scratchers at the end of games on Saturday. Lincoln Riley really sitting on the ball. I get that he didn't want Penn State to get it back, but 3 timeouts in the pocket, and with 14 seconds left, you're sitting around midfield where you had a lot of time to get the ball. And I'm not even talking about the interception. I'm talking about what happened before the interception. But anyway, you had that. You had Will Howard sliding. And Holton, as a quarterback, it's easy for us fat guys to say, hey, man, what the hell are you doing? But things are going 100 miles an hour. Obviously, you do know the situation and what you need to do. But when the lights are on and guys are running at you kind of forget things sometimes, I guess, right? What'd you think of kind of those 2 end of the game moments there?
Start with Lincoln. You're talking about the 14 seconds clip. Before that, he let the clock run down. It was like 35 seconds left. He just let it run
Yes.
down to 14 seconds. I was like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. I mean, I'm sure he has an explanation. I don't know if it's a good one, but I feel like he definitely should have went for it there. Look, to beat a top, 5 team in the nation, you got to be ballsy. You got to go out there and, go for it. If you have him in that situation where you have the ball, why not do it? And then the Will Howard situation, look, I get it as a former quarterback, but also you kind of got to be aware a little bit. I'm sure in the helmet mic before whoever their Chip Kelly, I believe is their OC, probably said, be ready to slide and make sure you get down at this side. And the sliding rules are weird, because some refs do it as soon as you start the motion. Some do it as soon as you touch the ground. So that's always one that's been very weird to me, even when I was playing.
Holton Ahlers joining us. Holton always do kind of a rookie quarterback check-in with you. Jaden Daniels in Washington loses at Baltimore, but a lot of people came out the way I did, still feeling pretty good about the Commanders after that game. Caleb Williams lights it up in London as he's starting to get it, and Bo Nix, I think the Broncos, who had they had a winning record going into last week.
Yeah.
They fall. So how about your rookie quarterback update? What do you think of Caleb Williams throwing all those touchdowns?
He finally looked like Caleb Williams in college. I mean, he looked really, really comfortable, and he's getting more comfortable each week. And look, we know he has weapons around him, and I know their OC. His OC was mine in Seattle, and their quarterback coach, same thing. So I know it's a good offense. It's the same offense that Geno did well in, that Baker Mayfield's doing well in Tampa. So, combine that with a generational talent. There's only bound time for him to play good. And then Jaden Daniels, I mean, they look like a competitor since literally getting him. So he's changed, feels like, that whole fan base around.
Holton, a couple of college football games tonight. We'll be checking out Western Kentucky and Sam Houston, and both of those teams have good records. 5-1, Sam Houston 4-2. Western Kentucky, Sam Houston 2-point favorite at home. FIU, Pitbull University, a 7-point road favorite in the mine shaft at UTEP. Any Wednesday night action going on for you?
The only thing I would touch, and I really haven't looked at it, I only do Saturday slates mostly. Sam Houston State has turned their program around quickly. Their OC, I don't know if he's still their OC. Brad Cornelson was the OC when Virginia Tech was offering me or recruiting me. He's a good dude, and he was with Paxton Lynch when they were at Memphis. They turned it around quickly. I would take them. That sounds like a good spread, but like I said, I haven't done too much deep dive into it. But I need to get my bets turned around. I think I'm like 18-10 right now, and I'm just not doing as well as Cade and Jack right now.
So what? 2 bad weeks in a row for you after a great start?
Yep, 2 bad weeks in a row, Clip. So I got to get it switched.
Turn it around this week. We'll have Holton's picks. We'll have Jack and Caden's picks as well posted here in the next couple of days. Holton, appreciate you joining us. Have fun this weekend. We'll miss you, but we'll get you back next week for homecoming when ECU takes on Temple.
Yes, sir. See you, Clip. Appreciate it.